Hi, I'm Paul Bodowski. I am a freelance games designer, and you may know me from such works as Sanction, Desanction, and Cthulhu Hack. I've also written for various other lines, such as Cimbrum Paranoia, Liminal, and Rivers of London. But effectively, I have taken my love of Nordic Noir, which, if you have sampled it yourself, includes the like of the Martin Beck series and the Wallander series, which are very much of a certain type, crime police procedural with an air of grim darkness, bleak landscapes, isolated locations, and often cases that will go on for weeks or months or even years. And what I wanted to do was slam those particular works together with the grim heart of Mörk Borg. And the outcome of that is my very own Cörk Børd. Cörk Børd is exactly that. It is a combination of the grim, bleak, isolated business of police procedurals in the Nordic Noir tradition, slammed together with the simple but effective engine of Mörk Borg. A small matter of pronunciation. Now, this is a challenge already, to be honest, because this little game here is constantly mispronounced, and I probably will mispronounce it right now. But as far as I'm aware, it would be pronounced Mörk Borg. Now, that might be wrong, but it means that this little game here would be called Cörk Børd. Now, the bird is based on the fact that this little character here has a slash through it and is pronounced a little bit like bleu, the French for blue, bleu. So bird. And the cork aspect of it, due to the umlaut, is pronounced a little bit like the Scottish church, a kirk. So Cörk Børd. To be really clear, it doesn't matter how you pronounce it. It's all about the pun. It's supposed to look like Mörk Borg. Mörk Borg. It doesn't mean anything. In fact, the second character, the O with a slash through it, isn't even in the same language as the first. As in Swedish, there is no character like that. So the whole idea of it, Nordic Noir, is it's supposed to kind of look like a word. It doesn't mean anything. It's a pun. Cörk Børd. It's what you use to hold the evidence when you are carrying out an investigation, which is what you're going to do in this game. Cörk Børd. Why Mörk Borg? Well, to me, simple system, flexible system, a grim system. And for the subject matter of Nordic Noir, it felt like an opportunity. It's not been done using that system before, and it felt like a place where we could go. Why me? I'm not Swedish. I'm not an expert in Nordic Noir, but I feel that is a good place to be, because when I wrote Desanction, or indeed Cthulhu Hack, I'm not an expert in Cthulhu myth, in the Cthulhu mythos or Lovecraftian fiction. I'm not an expert in Elizabethan history. But then the people who play this game won't be experts in Nordic Noir necessarily either. They will be wanting to play something that has the flavour of it. And I feel that by not being an expert, I can communicate some of that, I guess, uncertainty. But at the same time, why me? I've been a freelance games designer for 20 years. I've independently produced my own stuff for the last 10. And I've never been to Alpha Complex. I've never roamed through the dark corruption of Davokar, but I have written a lot of material for Paranoia and Cimbrum. And I bring enthusiasm and interest and a willingness to bend the rules and find new ways to use them. And that's why I've decided to write and release and publish Cörk Børd. I'm enthusiastic about it. So I hope that's enough. Compatibility with Mörk Borg. Now, Cörk Børd. Absolutely. I am looking for compatibility. Essentially, at heart, both Mörk and Cörk are, they are bedded in simplicity. The whole business of D20 plus stat versus difficulty rating is at the heart of both of those systems. And in that respect, you can absolutely take an adventure from one and apply it to another. At the same time, players roll all the dice. That doesn't change either. Agency remains in the player's hands. And even though Cörk Børd is based on in our world, it is all about low survival, high lethality, harsh realities. This is a world of uncaring potentials. Ultimately, the world is still going to end. The psalm in Mörk Borg is replaced by the declarations of the Yggrakult in Cörk Børd. So in Mörk Borg, you have the psalms. You have the iterations that effectively affect the course of the game to a certain extent. But as the psalms play out, upon the reading of the 7th psalm, effectively we bring about the end of the world. The Yggrakult is effectively the same, to the extent that it's not magic, it's not a cult, it is a pseudo-religious personality cult as such. It is an organization of some shape or form, which is left almost intentionally vague, which nevertheless has found its way into the media. It is in the papers, it is on the radio, it is whispered of. It is something that the youth of the day are referencing amongst themselves. And as the game progresses, effectively each day, or perhaps after a given session, you will make a roll, which will initially start with a 20-sided die, but the nature of it is that over the course of time, there is every time you roll a 1, you draw closer to the doom of the setting as such, and the same applies. Once you hit that 7th roll, the game world kind of erupts, and that final session will be the darkest and most corrupted of all the sessions. You will still have an investigation, but it is an opportunity for each of the characters to then play out their end, so to speak. And just briefly touching upon the notion which will be mentioned in the Kickstarter about the use of clue chains. Now, this is no particular innovation. I have to say, this is simply about constructing an investigation, and it's essentially taking you on the journey from the crime scene all the way through the confrontation, and in between you will have opportunities to visit locations or to interview leads, and it is just a way of referring to the approach whereby you go from A, B, C, D, E through to F, and you may not necessarily go in that order. Really, this has come out of the desanction adventures, where I started using a certain format, which effectively was a series of inputs and outputs. So in any given link within the chain, you will have a location, or you will have a lead that you need to follow up. That lead or location will have a clue, but there will always be a risk. There will be something that you have to commit. There will be something dangerous. There will be some practical reason why finding that clue is an issue. But by getting that, there is a lead into the next step. There is an output to the next stage. And around that, there may be color. The GM has the opportunity to make the world as immersive as they care. But the structure means that notionally you can make that chain as short as is specified, or you can build around it. So the clue chain is the approach that Cörk Børd will be taking to adventures, and you will see it mentioned. And one of the traumas that might be involved with clue chains, baggage. Covering baggage. Now, essentially, stability and baggage are your characters' approaches to dealing with the day-to-day drudgery of and despair that's associated with their work. Essentially, stability is the equivalent of hit points. And I will touch upon compatibility with Mörk Borg next week. If you are looking to simply deal with hit points, stability is what you chip away. However, baggage is a little bit different. Baggage is a level of harm that will slowly grind your character down. And this is very much in the Nordic Noir tradition. These are the challenges faced by a character that they return to, and they are haunted by them. It might simply be something like an issue with family, a father who is struggling, an ex-wife who remains ever in your thoughts, or a distant child who never returns your calls. Or it might be something as impractical and ridiculous as Wallander and his challenging dietary issues, sometimes leading to problematic bouts of diarrhea. But effectively, these are your ways of, they're kind of like the way you soak up the day-to-day drudgery and despair. And the challenge is that take enough baggage and it begins to weigh you down, literally, which is kind of half of the reason for the name, to the point that in the end you can no longer face the work that you're doing. You may need to take a sabbatical or a long holiday. Worst case scenario is that your whole worldview shifts, and we might well see your character retire or join the very cult that is lurking in the background. One of the things that I want of Cörk Børd is that you can make the adventures as complex and involved or as simple and straightforward as you choose. Nordic Noir beds itself in the concept of complex investigations, which demand a great deal of the investigative team. And the nature of that is that pursuing the various leads and clues constantly frustrate the team, and lead to more and more opportunities to indulge in the personalities and the dark backdrops, the difficult relationships. But ultimately, it means that you should and can run things in quite simple or complex ways. And I think is something that is key in this, because I want people to have the opportunity to run Cörk Børd at a convention, but at the same time there should be the opportunity to run it as a campaign, at home or online with your gaming group. So, and at the same time, to support that, the book will include a plethora of tables, and the Kickstarter campaign will have a number of additional opportunities for more tables, more content, more investigations.